Sorry, I know that hurt.
El Camino! We're trying to figure out how that works.
Grab that bubble gum while we have it.
There's the dune buggy. Watch that sheriff.
I know, right? And that's what I need.
The name was derived from a large spring which supplied water for the L&N Railroad. All of L&N's locomotives were steam driven, and this was the only supply of water known between Marietta and Blue Ridge. Officiating clergy that met to constitute the church were 3 ministers: Alfred Webb, John Mullinax, Benjamin Head, and 6 deacons: Isaac Mullinax, James Bramlett, Dara James, Johnson Ledbetter, John D. Price, and Baltzan Dowdy. The charter members were Moses G. Anderson, Thomas Anderson, Thomas Norton, Elijah Davis, Deacon Barton Lovelace, James Blackwell, Asa Baggett, Deacon Jesse Paget, Anna Holden, Lucinda Jordan, Molly Johnson, Millie Whitmire, and Margaret Norton, Martha Davis, Isabel Lovelace, Martha Poole, Rebecca Worley, Edie Paget, and Jane Anderson. 3 different buildings have been home to Cool Springs Baptist Church. The first church building was used for 44 years until it was destroyed by a cyclone on February the 19th of 1884. The second church building was used for 40 years until the third church building was constructed in 1924. It is located behind and west of the second building. The third church building at the church's present location has been in use for 92 years. This past July, we accepted a plaque from the Georgia Baptist Convention in recognition of 175 years of service to the Lord. Cool Springs Baptist Church has now been an active part of the Tate community for 176 years. Cool Springs joined the Hightower Association in 1849, the Jasper Baptist Association in 1881, the Marble Valley Association, of which Cool Springs was a charter member, in 1939. The church currently belongs to the Etowah Baptist Association. John Zimmerman, a Methodist Dutchman from Canton, Ohio, organized Cool Springs' first Sunday school in 1885. After his death in 1895, the Baptist and Methodist churches erected his tombstone in the old Tate Cemetery where he's buried. The Woman's Missionary Society was organized at Cool Springs in 1923 and for many years was the most active organization in the church. In his 1963 History of the First Baptist Church of Jasper, Reverend Charles O. Walker stated that Cool Springs Church had the highest per capita level of mission giving in this area of North Georgia. From 1940 until 1950, church services were held at Cool Springs every first and third Sunday, and at Jasper the second and fourth Sunday. During these years, a common bond was held between the Baptist and the Methodist. On the days services were held at our church, members of the Tate Methodist Church worshiped with us. On the other two Sundays, the Cool Springs congregation attended the morning services at the Methodist Church. A joint choir served these two churches, and a wonderful relationship developed that remains today. Many additions and improvements have been added over the years, with a new kitchen, fellowship hall, and educational space constructed in 1986. The foregoing abridged history of Cool Springs Baptist Church was taken from Stephen E. Griffith's book, The Many Facets of Tate, Georgia, and was submitted for the files of the church by permission of the author. If you've never read this book, I encourage you to pick up a copy and read it, especially if you're interested in the history of the Tate community. He went so far as to list every dwelling in the entire community and a chronological history